everything has changed for the New York Knicks after surprising comments from one of their vocal leaders and stars calling out the former regime, while also speaking on why this new regime is going to fix a ton of problems for this team and also really start to change the way that we look at everyone on this Knicks squad and how the Knicks squad is ran, as things have changed in this team for the better, and it should have fans very confident in the future of the Knicks, specifically in regards to this 2026 season. A year where the Knicks have made it very clear they fully intend to go all in on trying to win the NBA Finals this year. Right now is their window. They fully believe that. And with that in mind, there is a lot of changes that this team is making with Mike Brown at the helm, including players even calling out the former regime and mentioning the fans as well. And we're going to jump right into this as always. But guys, if you're part of that 57% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe for daily New York Knicks updates. We have a lot of great videos coming out for you every day that you do not want to miss out on. We're having so much fun on this channel. And we're starting to make multiple videos a day right now just because there is a ton of Knicks news. While my base bar continues to be a little bit bare right now, but we're gonna fix that, or it'll just come back later on the video. We'll see. But look, guys, there's a lot to go over on the Knicks right now because Josh Hart, as we know, is sort of the assistant captain to Jalen Brunson. In hockey, we usually see how there's the captain logo. You see the guy with the C on their chest, and then there's a guy with an A, which is the assistant captain. Josh Hart, for every sense of the word, if that was the case in basketball, Jalen Brunson would have the C, and Josh Hart would have that little A next to him because he is the other vocal leader of the Knicks. He's someone who rallies the team together and has a very team-first mentality. The man has always played for the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back of the jersey. He said multiple times that he wants to be a servant to his teammates and do all the dirty work for his guys, and that he's willing to put in whatever it takes for the Knicks and be their Swiss Army knife guy. It might be exhausting, it might be difficult, it might not be the most fun job in the world, but overall, Josh Hart has made it very clear that he wants to win and that this is the role that he has to play to win. He's perfectly happy to do that and will give his body for that. But however, he recently spoke out on everything surrounding the Knicks, as Karl-Anthony Towns throughout his entire NBA career has been a guy who many have turned against in playoff performances, claiming that he's just not a playoff guy, that he's not able to perform in the playoffs. It's one of the reasons why many Knicks fans did say that they didn't like the trade at the time. However, many Knicks fans were quite wrong about that at the end of the day when Karl-Anthony Towns balled out in the playoffs, specifically the conference finals, where he was arguably the best player on the Knicks. And when we look at everything, Josh Hart recently spoke on this whole situation surrounding the Knicks and last year's playoffs, with Josh saying, "I think the only one who should get blamed is me. I had a terrible conference finals. I think I played well in Detroit and Boston. With Indiana, I just didn't have nothing left. I gave everything I had. I just didn't have anything left in the tank," which is kind of a heartbreaking thing to see from Josh Hart, considering how easy it is to love this guy. Josh did everything he could in the regular season for the Knicks as well. He played 37.6 minutes per game, the most of any single player in the NBA. Mikal Bridges played more minutes because he didn't miss a game and actually averaged a tiny bit more minutes per game before playing 5 seconds of the final game of the year, hurting the minutes average, or, well, maybe helping the minutes average, depending on what the argument you want to make is. But Josh also in that span had his best season to date. He put up 13.6 points, 9.6 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 52% from the field, 33% from 3, and also got a steal and a half per game. Nearly had 2 stocks per game as a 6'4" swingman, which is very, very, very impressive to see. Josh Hart does all the dirty work for the Knicks, and he's not afraid to do it. He's never backed away from it, and it's one of the reasons why we love him so much. Now, Josh Hart said, "I thought Karl-Anthony Towns played good. I thought the team played well. I think I didn't have enough to give. Honestly, I should get the brunt of that more than Cat or anyone else. They played hard and they did what they were supposed to do. If they're blaming Towns, I think it's stupidity." And I'm inclined to agree with Josh Hart here. It is stupidity. Karl-Anthony Towns had an excellent run in the playoffs. He showed that he can be good in the playoffs. And at the same time, we see Josh Hart, he played the most minutes per game in the 2024-25 season with 37.6 minutes per game. Right next to him, the only person who played more minutes than Josh Hart again was Mikal Bridges, who's the other wing next to Josh Hart. When we see stuff like that, it does start to kick in that you really understand that Tom Thibodeau was playing these guys an insane amount. I mean, Mikal surmounted 3,000 plus minutes a night. Meanwhile, no one else was even in the 3,000s. We see Josh Hart was in the 2.8K, so he wasn't even at 2,900. No one else was. It was just Mikal Bridges in that 3,000 minutes area. Mikal made it very clear that he wanted to see the bench guys play more, and that he even told Tom Thibodeau that. And Mikal was not really hesitant to call out some of the issues with the team that kind of do date back to Tibbs. Now, at the same time, it was also mentioned by Schwinney that I think the cumulative load that Tibbs put on Josh went from when OG and Julius went down in January 2024 through pretty much all of last season, burnt him out mentally as much as it may have physically. He made head-scratching mistakes and bonehead execution. It became increasingly prevalent with him over that time. And that is not shade at all towards Josh Hart. Not one bit. All it's saying is that Josh, he bared a load that was absolutely insane for anyone to handle. That's the type of stuff that you put on the top 3 players in the world. That execution, the amount of minutes, all that stuff, that is who you see the loads like that LeBron James handles, the Kevin Durant's, the Giannis's, especially Giannis, right? More than anyone now, Giannis. In 2018, that was what LeBron had to bear. Like when you're the sole superstar on a team that, in all honesty, isn't very good at all and would be nowhere near the playoffs without you. We've seen Steph Curry have to bear that load over some years. We've seen a lot of players have to handle it. We saw Carmelo Anthony have to do it for a while. Like, it's something that we've seen time and time again in the NBA. Josh Hart, though, and I don't mean this negatively, isn't an NBA superstar. He's not the best player on the Knicks. There's no reason why he should have had to do all that for the Knicks. But Tibbs trusted his Swiss Army knife and used him until it would go dull. And because of that, it was difficult for Josh. How could it not be difficult? It'd be difficult for anyone to handle. But Josh is also right. Towns should not have taken any blame in the playoffs, or taken not any blame. All of them do deserve a little bit of blame for losing that series. But, like, Towns played well throughout the playoffs, averaging 21 points, 11.6 rebounds, shooting 35% from 3, and also having a true shooting of 58.9%. He was shooting well. I mean, the field goal percentage out of 49 was solid. Everything looked good from Cat, and he continued to play well. He looked great in the conference finals. He averaged 24.8 points per game and 12.2 rebounds. Those are almost his exact stats that he averaged on the year. The only difference is he averaged 12.8 rebounds per game over the season, but he averaged exactly 24.8 points per game over the season. Cat did not fall off in the playoffs whatsoever. He went out there and was the reason the Knicks won Game 3 as well. He had a 20-point fourth quarter. Cat did everything in his power to drag the Knicks to that victory so they would get their first win in the conference finals in 7 million years. Cat deserves a lot of credit for that, but he doesn't usually get it. There's a lot of blame that always goes towards him. Now, when you also look at the total rebounders, the Knicks, despite the fact that they didn't make the playoffs, had 2 of the top guys here. I mean, we saw it with Cat getting 209. We saw Josh Hart, who's 6'4", on a list that purely features people over 7 feet tall or 7 feet tall. Josh Hart was right there because he was doing all that work for the Knicks. It doesn't go unsaid how great Josh Hart is, but it is difficult to watch in these types of situations. However, now things have changed. Mike Brown's in, Tibbs is out, and we're going to see a lot of differences. Differences that Mike Brown has already started to talk about. Now, Brown said, also kind of relating to Tibbs in a way, he said, I've got to help pace the players too. That's one thing when I was fortunate, blessed, lucky to be in a couple of back-to-back finals as an assistant coach with Golden State. Go a couple of times where you had long seasons and you feel that the next season is right there on you. But the biggest thing is trying to make sure you watch everybody's minutes instead of trying to chase games. There might be some games that maybe throw in the towel early, just instead of, if you're in that many close games, just instead of chasing every single game, it's important to win. But you also have to understand, hey, I want to keep these guys' minutes here. This guy's minutes here. This guy's minutes here. Instead of trying to extend everybody's minutes. Because if the season is long, we don't want anybody worn out by the end of the season. And then, when the end of the season does come, make sure that everybody takes an adequate break before getting back into it. On top of that, Brown continued by saying, the Warriors, they did, and they got, I think that year, beaten the finals, which they did, yeah, and it kind of caught up to them. And from that point on, that's when Steve Kerr was like, I'm not going to chase it anymore. If we get it, we get it. But I've got to make sure for Steph Curry, if we want Steph to only play 35 minutes or average 35 minutes a game, then that's what he's going to average. And Steve Kerr is someone who's spoken on Josh Hart in his career. Steve Kerr coached Josh Hart in FIBA, saying Josh Hart is just a winner. People ask, what position does he play? He plays winner. So we look at Mike Brown coming off of coaching with some of the best of them, coaching some of the best players in history, whether it's LeBron, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry. We've seen him coach NBA legends all the time. This is nothing new. So when we see that, we understand that Mike Brown knows what he's doing in this situation. And also, blatantly mentions Tom Thibodeau by the way that he said, I have got to keep these guys' minutes here. He covers himself by saying, well, the Warriors, they didn't do that, and they ended up losing in the finals. That's something that Steph Curry has admitted to in the past also, saying that his ankle was banged up, but they kind of ignored everything because they were chasing a record. They wanted to be the first team to win 73 games and have single-digit losses in NBA history. And guess what? They did it. And then the famous phrase came, 73-9 don't mean a thing if you don't win a ring, or 73-9 doesn't have a ring to it, whichever way you want to say it. the same thing applies. The Warriors got tired. They got sloppy. They still took it to 7 games, but in those final 4, you could tell it was a different Warriors team. They were gassed. LeBron and them. I mean, there's that famous LeBron leaked quote where he said they're effed up. They're effed up physically and they're effed up mentally. And then what happened? The Cavs, going into Game 7, won that game. It was a close game. LeBron didn't sit, but he had gotten all that rest prior because the Cavs did not burn their guys out. So you allowed LeBron to go out there and play 48 minutes and look fresh for all of it. The Warriors learned the hard way. The Knicks also recently learned the hard way about what happens when you overplay your guys throughout the whole season and you really have an 8-man rotation. Yeah, shout out to Casey Smith for keeping them healthy. That's absolutely huge. He was able to do that. He's an excellent head of the medical team. But I love that Mike Brown's already saying, no, we're keeping this guy's minutes here. If we're going to lose the game, we're going to lose the game. JJ Redick said it back when he did The Old Man the Three, a podcast that I miss every single day. Not to say that Tommy Alter's Young Man the Three isn't good. It is a good podcast, but I miss JJ Redick and his podcasting days. But he's a great coach, so good for him. But when it comes down to it, JJ Redick even says, like, it's something you learn over time in the NBA. Not every game matters. There's 82 games. You're going to go into some games and like, all right, I'm going to take it easy this game. And then other games you're going to go into and be like, I'm going to really work here. I'm going to try to get this win. But some games you're going to understand. You're going to take it a little bit easier because it's not, you can't just do that for 82 games. You're going to burn yourself out halfway through the season and you're not going to be able to recover properly. You're not going to be right physically. You're not going to be right mentally. And that's exactly what happened to the Knicks. And now the Knicks have a coach who's well aware of this situation, wants to run a 10, 11-man rotation at points. He's going to play some young guys. He's going to be able to sit people for maybe a nagging injury. Like, oh, my ankle's kind of sore. Good, let's sit you. Get a night of rest. Obviously, Mikal Bridges probably won't want to do that. But the rest of them, like, say Jalen Brunson rolls an ankle and is a little sore but could play. Mike Brown's going to be like, why would you play? Ice that thing, rice it, and get back to work. And we're just going to take some rest. That's the way to go. But we're going to see what happens with the Knicks. I'm super excited for this season and to see how Mike Brown coaches them. What do you guys think? What do you guys want to see out of Mike Brown and the Knicks? Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. Go Knicks.